What's up, guys? Welcome to your 85th Android tutorial for the new Boston. What we're going to do in this tutorial is basically, get rid of this garbage right here and set up our application to actually be running properly. So what we're going to do is again, just to highlight, we're going to use the TabHost, which we gave the ID at plus ID TabHost. So that's mainly the most important one that we're going to refer to, as well as the specific layout here within our frame layout. We have those IDs as tab 1, tab 2, and tab 3. So that's kind of an important thing to realize or remember what those references are in Java. But let's just get started. The first thing we're going to do is create a tab host called TabHost, or TH, short for TabHost, and then you import TabHost. Then we say TabHost like this as well. Find view by ID, nothing new for the most part. I mean, it's a TabHost, so that's a little bit different, but then r.id.tabhost. So we set that up. Now the first thing we want to do is, alright, the first thing that, man, I just didn't spell that correctly at all. First thing we want to do is set up our TabHost, because again, the TabHost kind of organizes everything, and once we say th, which is the TabHost that we set up here, we can use .setup, and that's just going to basically, get the initialization going on, kind of set up the basics. And now we can actually add our tabs. We can kind of organize it, organize what we want our tab to be, what kind of content we want the tab to have or hold. Again, the content being our layouts, our linear layouts. So all we have to do now is just say, again, our tab host, or we're going to refer to the tab specs, which comes from the TabHost class. So tab specs, and we're going to call this TS for tab specs, and we got to import our tab specs class here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say our tab specs is equal to our TabHost dot new tab spec. And basically what this is going to give it is a string reference or a name, a tag of some sort. And right now I don't know exactly if this has a purpose. I think it's just something Android developed for further, for the future. But at the moment, I don't think this tag actually can be referenced of any sort. But we do need to set it up still. So we're going to set this tag spec up to our tag host, and then give it a tag. So now what we want to do is set up our spec and kind of define what we want our specific tab to be, what we want it to do, and what we want it to hold. So first we're going to say our TS. Let's change this to, just so it's a little, specs. We're going to change that to specs just so it's a little bit more descriptive there. So we're going to say specs, and then we can say dot set content. As you can see here, again, the content referring to our linear layout. So we're going to say r.id.tab1. Again, that's the linear layout that we set up in the Java here, or in the XML here, and that's going to hold our two buttons and our text view. So that's what that's referring to. And then we also want to say, basically give it, the tab, a name of some sort. So we're going to say specs dot set indicator, and basically that's the tab's name, is the indicator. And then we're going to call this first one stopwatch, and that's going to appear on our actual tab. And then the last thing that we have to do is we just got to say our tab host, then we just say add tab, and it takes a tab spec within its parameters. So we're going to give it our spec that we just set up, so specs. So there we go. We set up one tab so far that has a tag, the content, and what we want the tab to actually include. Now all we're going to do is just kind of copy and paste this whole thing again. So just copy, paste. We don't need to redefine our tab here, or a spec. So what we're going to do now is just kind of define our second tab as well. So we can say tag 2 for the new kind of tag, and then for our content of the second tag, we want it to be our tab, tag, and tab. Alright, I got it now. So we want our content to be our second tab, or our linear layout, that's number 2, and for that we're just going to say tab 2, something like that. And then again, all we do, since we kind of redefined what spec is here, we're just going to add that new tab as well. And then let's just paste it one more time, get rid of the specs here for a third tag, for a third tab, with the name tag 3, and with the content tab 3, and we're just going to say add a tab. No, we aren't. Yeah, we are. Add a tab. The next tutorial might not be that awesome, but that's what our third one is going to be. And now just quickly, we save it. So again, you kind of define the specs, and then you, from the TabHost, you add the specs to your startup or your onCreate method. And then the only other thing we're going to do real quickly, I'm going to copy a button from our first class, or from our first linear layout, and paste it within our third linear layout instead of this text view. And we're going to change this to button add tab. And we're just going to save it, and I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Well, actually, let's run it real quick, make sure everything works. So open our tabs, and we have our 3 tabs. So the first one we have our start and stop, second one we have our text view, and our third one we have that add a tab button. So there we go. Everything looks pretty good. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I'll catch you in the next tutorial. Have a good one.